From warming the bench to becoming a game-changer in every big match, Amad Diallo's rise isn't just about a new manager, it's so much more. In this video, we'll dive into why he's become crucial for Manchester United, what makes him special, and how to take his Premier League game to the next level. Amad Diallo, the name alone sparks debate among football fans. Is he the future of Manchester United or just another what could have been? From the moment he broke onto the scene, Amad carried the weight of sky-high expectations. Some called him the new Messi, praising his quick feet, vision and ability to unlock defenses. Others compared him to Riyad Mahrez, marveling at his silky dribbling and effortless creativity. Touted as the next big thing on the right wing, Amad was labelled a generational talent, a player with the creativity of a maestro and the finesse of a seasoned winger. Some even argued his best work came from the left, where he could cut in and weave magic. But talent alone doesn't guarantee success. His journey has been anything but smooth, from flashes of brilliance to long spells on the bench to now playing well under Amorim. Amad's career has kept fans hooked and scratching their heads in equal measure. The question remains, is he really that good, or are we just romanticizing his potential? You see, Amad's career started in Atlanta. Amad was that guy in Atlanta's Primavera, their youth setup. He wasn't just good, he was electrifying. The kind of player that had you double-checking the roster like, wait, this kid is how old? He scored goals, he created chances, and he played with a swagger that screamed, I'm built for bigger things. And guess what? Atlanta's senior team noticed too. He didn't just get a call-up, he made history. In October 2019, Amad became the first player born in 2002 to score in Serie A. Just imagine, 17 years old, barely old enough to drive, and he's out there scoring on his debut against Udinese. And guess what? He needed less than 7 minutes. Talk about making an entrance. But here's the kicker, he wasn't even playing regularly for Atlanta's first team. Why? Well, it's Atlanta. They had a squad of seasoned pros who knew how to grind out results. Amad was the shiny new toy, but they weren't ready to take him out of the box yet. Still, every time he got minutes, you could see flashes of brilliance. He'd glide past defenders like they weren't even there and whip in these perfect passes that screamed future star. You know that moment when you're watching someone and you just know they're special? Yeah, that was Amad at Atlanta. It wasn't long before the big clubs started circling, and when Manchester United came calling with that massive transfer fee, you just knew the story was about to get a whole lot more interesting. Well, for him it was interesting, but for the fans it was surprising because he was brought in for a lot of money. But to be honest, it started pretty well. Remember his Europa League debut? That cheeky back-header goal against AC Milan? Like, who even does that? It was one of those moments where you'd sit up and think, this guy is different. It wasn't just the goal, it was the confidence. He was like, yeah, I'm here, watch me. But here's the thing. Being at United isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Sure, Amad got a few games here and there, but then, boom, he's benched. Not because he wasn't good, but because, let's face it, competition at United is no joke. You've got players like Rashford, Greenwood and even Dan James fighting for spots, and Amad was still this raw, unpolished gem. Even when he wasn't playing much though, he had these little flashes that made you go, okay, this guy's got something special. Remember when he came on against Leicester and nearly created something out of nothing? Or those silky touches in the FA Cup? He wasn't perfect, but you could tell there was serious potential just waiting to explode. But by the end of the season, it was clear he wasn't going to get the minutes he needed. And for a player like Amad who thrives on confidence and rhythm, that's a killer. So, what does United do? They send him on loan. And not just anywhere, off to Rangers, where things were, let's just say, complicated. But his next loan move would be one of the best things ever for him. So after his failed loan at Rangers, he was moved to Sunderland. And from the moment he stepped onto the pitch for Sunderland, it was like a light switched on. Suddenly, this wasn't just a promising kid anymore, this was a player who was owning games. And let's talk numbers, because they don't lie. 14 goals and 4 assists in the Championship. That's wild for a player his age. I mean, he wasn't just playing, he was carrying Sunderland at times, scoring bangers and threading passes like he was running a masterclass. Remember that screamer against Birmingham? It was like watching peak Mahrez cutting in in from the right, curling it into the top corner and leaving everyone stunned. And let's not forget how calm and composed he looked on the ball. It wasn't just goals, it was the way he played. The little flicks, the 1-2s, the confidence to take defenders on like he's playing FIFA on easy mode. Sunderland fans fell in love with him, and who could blame them? He wasn't just their star player, he was the guy. And suddenly, United fans started paying attention. The question wasn't if Amad would get another chance at United, it was when. But here's where it gets tricky. With stats like that and performances to match, everyone thought Amad was going to waltz back into the United starting 11. After all, Antony wasn't exactly lighting it up, and Garnacho was sometimes shifted to the right wing just to plug the gap. It felt like the perfect moment for Amad to take his place. But nope. Instead, Amad found himself back on the bench, and that's when the frustration hit. I mean, what more did the guy need to do? United fans were pulling their hair out. You had this insanely talented winger who just smashed it in the Championship, but he was sitting on the sidelines. Why? Because Antony was Ten Hag's guy, a big money signing they'd spent over 82 million on. And managers don't bench their marquee signings just like that, and that was frustrating. Then came Ruben Amorim. When he was announced as Manchester United's new manager, it felt like a clean slate. Amorim's known for giving young talent a shot, so naturally everyone's first thought was, is this finally Amad's time? Well, it was. But before Amorim, Ruud as interim manager played a major role in Amad's form now. Even Amorim said so. Big Ruud wasn't in charge for long, but he made it count. He gave Amad the minutes he desperately needed, and you could see the transformation almost immediately. Confidence? Back. Swagger? Restored. You could tell Amad was starting to believe in himself again, and honestly that's half the battle for a player like him. Then Amorim took over, and it was like flipping a switch. No more bench warming, no more what-ifs. Amad was starting, week in and week out. And with that consistency came performances that made you think this is what we've been waiting for. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Amorim trusted Amad so much that he started experimenting with him in different positions. Of course, we all know Amad as a natural right winger, but Amorim tried him out at right wing back. And guess what? He smashed it in both roles. On the wing, he was dazzling defenders, cutting inside and delivering those killer passes. As a wing-back, he added defensive grit to his game, while still being a constant threat going forward. It was like he unlocked a whole new level. Remember that derby game against Manchester City? Yeah, that game. United were under pressure, but Amad stepped up. He didn't just play well, he won them the game. Whether it was a clutch goal or a perfectly timed assist, it was both. Amad showed he could be the guy to deliver when it mattered most. Under Amorim, he wasn't just filling a spot in the lineup, he was owning it. He became a player who could adapt, create, defend, and still bring flair to every match. That versatility? It's gold dust in modern football. And Amad proved he could handle it all. And let's not forget the most important part. It looked like he was having fun. You could see it in his celebrations. His confidence on the ball, it was like watching someone who finally found their groove. Amorim gave him the platform, and Amad grabbed it with both hands, proving once and for all that he's not just hype. He's the real deal. But why is he that important to Manchester United? Amad Diallo has gone from a maybe to an absolute must-have. And it's not just about him being flashy on the ball. This guy is putting up numbers and delivering in every part of the pitch. Since Amorim took over, no Manchester United player has been involved in more goals than Amad. That's right, no one. He's not just playing, he's running the show. Most touches in the box, most big chances created, most shots taken, most possession won in the final third, and even, get this, the most clearances. It's like he's playing three roles at once. Amorim's trust in Amad is next level. He's not just sticking him on the right wing, he's tried him at right wing back too, and Amad has smashed it in both positions. On the wing, he's electric, taking on defenders, delivering those killer passes, and getting into scoring positions. As a wing-back, he's combining defensive work rate with attacking flair, redefining the role. But why is he thriving so much under Amorim? First, the system suits him perfectly. Amorim's setup relies heavily on wingbacks who can carry the ball into dangerous areas, press high, and drop the ball when needed. That's Amad in a nutshell. He's got the intelligence to time his runs, the skill to beat the press, and the awareness to make the right pass or cut inside when it matters most. Take the Manchester derby, for example. United were under the cosh, but Amad turned the game on its head. His creativity and decision-making were spot on, setting up Bruno Fernandes for a goal with the penalty, his goal, and making the kind of defensive runs that stopped City in their tracks. He's not just an attacking spark, he's a game-changer on both ends of the pitch. And let's not forget his consistency. Every game he's delivering, whether it's a key tackle in the defensive third or a pinpoint assist in the final third. That versatility is why Amorim has made him undroppable. Amad isn't just a player for the future, he's making things happen for United right now. Seriously, the only question left is, how did it take this long for everyone to see what this guy can do? But as good as this guy is, there are still some things he needs to improve on to become an elite. First off, let's talk about his shooting. Now, don't get me wrong, he's scored some absolute beauties, but if you've watched him closely, you'll notice his shots sometimes lack that oomph. They're more about placement than power. And while that's great for finesse finishes, it won't always cut it in the Premier League. He needs to learn to drill those shots, especially when in a crowded box or under pressure. A rocket into the top corner now and then? Yeah, we'd all love to see that. But remember those curling efforts he used to pull off at Sunderland? What happened to those? It's like he's gone away from what made him so dangerous. He needs to bring that back into his game. The kind of shot that leaves goalkeepers frozen just watching the ball fly past them. Another thing, he can get a bit predictable at times. You know, cutting inside on his left foot, looking for the pass or the curler. Don't get me wrong, it works, but defenders at this level are smart. He needs to mix it up more. Go outside, whip in a cross, or even take on defenders with a bit of unpredictability. Keep them guessing and he'll be unstoppable. The best part? Amad is still young. These are things he can work on, and knowing his trajectory, it's not a matter of if, it's when. So yeah, he's already brilliant, but a few tweaks here and there, we might be looking at the next big global star. But what do you think? Is he the next big thing or just another moment player? Well, let me know in the comments. I look forward to your response. Thank you.